Alrighty, welcome in. I'm now going to be reviewing Tuesday's action from the Major League Baseball season. There were a total of 14 games, so let's dive right into it. The Texas Rangers were continuing their series with the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers would win this contest 4-2. They're now sitting at 10-7. The Rangers have now are dropped to 500 with a record of 9-9. Andrew Chaffin picked up his first win of the season. Jose Arena is now 0-2, and Jason Foley got his fifth save for the Tigers. The Minnesota Twins were taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens. I'm thinking about football now. The Baltimore Orioles, I do apologize. The Orioles would win this one by 8 runs. 11-3 would be the final score. Baltimore is now sitting at 11-6. And after the loss, the Twins are 4 games below 500 with a record of 6-10. Grayson Rodriguez is still perfect on this season with a record of 3-0. And Chad Paddock is 0-1. The Colorado Rockies took on the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia would win this contest easily. 5-0 would be the final score. They're now sitting at 10-8. And after the loss, the Rockies are now 10 games below 500 with a record of 4-14. Ranger Suarez is still perfect on the season. He has a record of 3-0. Austin Gomber is 0-1 for the Colorado Rockies. The San Francisco Giants were continuing their series with Miami Marlins. The Marlins would get a shocking win in this one. After this, the final score was 6-3. With the win, they're now 4-14. After the loss, the Giants are 4 games below 500 with a record of 7-11. Ryan Weathers picked up his second win of the season. He's now 2-1. Ryan Walker suffered the loss. He's 1-2, and Tanner Scott got his second save for Miami. The Angels were taking on the Rays. Tampa would win this contest. Very close. 7-6 would be the final score. They're now sitting at 10-8. After the loss, the Angels are now 1 game below 500 with a record of 8-9. Garrett Clevenger is still perfect on the season with a record of 3-0, and Carson Fulmer is 0-1. The New York Yankees were continuing their series with the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays would win this contest 5-4. After the victory, they're now sitting at 10-8. And despite the loss, the Yankees are still 6 games above 500 with a record of 12-6. Yushi Kikuchi, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, is now 1-1 on the season after the win. Carlos Rodon is 1-1 after the loss, and Jordan Romano picked up his first save for the Blue Jays. The Pittsburgh Pirates were continuing their series with the New York Mets. The Mets winning this contest 3-1. After the victory, the Mets are now 1 game above 500 with a record of 9-8. And despite the loss, the Pirates are still 4 games above 500 with a record of 11-7. Reed Garrett got the win. He's sitting at 2-0. Luis Ortiz suffered the loss. He's 1-1. And Drew Smith got his first save for the Mets. The Cleveland Guardians were continuing their series with the Boston Red Sox. They would win this contest. 10-7 would be the final score, improving their record to 12-5. After the loss, the Red Sox are now back to 500 with a record of 9-9. Emmanuel Clase is 1-0 as a starter. Josh Winkowski is 1-1 after suffering the loss, and Scott Barlow got his first save of the season for the Cleveland Guardians. Already 6 games remaining from from Tuesday's action. I apologize. The Padres were taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, doubling up the score. 6-3 would be the final score in favor of San Diego. They're now sitting at 11-9. After the loss, the Brewers are 10-6. Dylan Cease is 2-1 as a starter, while Wade Miley is 0-1. The Atlanta Braves were taking on the Houston Astros. They would triple up the score on Houston, winning this contest 6-2. After the win, Atlanta is now sitting at 11-5, and after the loss, the Astros are now 7 games below 500 with a record of 6-13. Ronaldo Lopez is 2-0 as a starter. After the loss, Hunter Brown's 0-3, and Raciel Iglesias got his 4th save for the Braves. The Cincinnati Reds are taking on the Seattle Mariners. Mariners would win this contest 3-1 would be the final score. They're now sitting at 8-10. After the loss, Cincinnati is 9-8. Logan Gilbert got his first win. He's 1-0 as a starter. Emilio Pagan, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, is 1-1. And Taylor Saucedo got his first save for the Mariners. Alrighty, the St. Louis Cardinals were taking on the Oakland A's. St. Louis would win this contest 3-2, evening up their record at 9-9. After the loss, the A's are now 4 games below 500 with a record of 7-11. Lance Lynn got his first win of the season. Danny Jimenez would suffer the loss. He's now 1-1, and Ryan Helsley got his 7th save. All right, a very high-scoring affair between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago Cubs. Arizona would prevail. 12-11 would be the final score, evening up their record at 9-9. After the loss, the Cubs are 10-7. Kevin Ginkel got his first win of the season. He's 1-0, while Drew Smyly is 2-2 after the loss. Alrighty, the last game from Tuesday's action took place in Los Angeles, where they would win this one 6-2 over the visiting Washington Nationals. With the win, the Dodgers stopped their losing streak. They're now sitting at 12-8, while the Washington Nationals are 3 games below 500 with a record of 7-10. Ryan Yarbrough is now 2-0 as a starter, while Patrick Corbin is still looking for his first win. He's 0-3. Alrighty, as always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care.